Now let's talk about Section D. This is a more complicated section of the lesson plan until you figure out where your resources are and how to pull the various pieces of information together to cite the standards that justify what you are teaching in the lesson plan. So at this point, I'm going to tell you that you do need to read each slide individually. Look at the sample lesson plans that I have given you. There are numerous ones. Print them out. Look at the standards section, Part D, for the various lesson plans, and read closely the slides that I have provided here. I will try my best to point out some key things that I think will help you, but again, it's going to require you being online, accessing the URL links that I have provided you in these PowerPoint slides and in this presentation via YouTube. Remember, this PowerPoint is in the course in the lesson plan instruction folder for this week's assignments. The standards are basically what you use to justify why you are teaching what you are teaching at the grade level at which you are teaching it. That's a lot to digest, but just think. It's you proving why you need to teach, for example, this topic in fourth grade science. The standards tell you that in fourth grade science you need to be teaching this topic. And that will make more sense as we get into these slides. Notice on the sample lesson plan that I'm showing you right now, this is where they have quoted the standard. It's third grade, and you'll see where all this comes from as we get further into the slides. So reading, third grade, and here are the items that you are saying based on the standards, and this is exactly what the standard reads. These are the things that you're saying your students will learn or skills they will develop as a result of this lesson. This is an explanatory slide, and that hyperlink is in white, which I know is hard to read, but you can see it when you actually view the PowerPoint presentations itself. These are very important hyperlinks. Know that the standards for math, science, and English language arts have all been converted to what we call Common Core. In other words, these are national standards that replace what originally were Kentucky-only standards. So these standards, these Common Core standards in these three subjects, can be found at these hyperlinks. And here is the actual science hyperlink. You may not be able to tell that from the screen, but this is the link that will take you to the science standards. And basically, once again, these three sets of standards will tell the reader of your lesson plan or whoever's observing you why you are teaching what you are teaching at the grade level and in the subject in which you are teaching it. Another hyperlink that you will want to access is this combined curriculum document. All subjects other than math, science, and English language arts will use these standards to justify what you are teaching at what level. Notice I tell you to bookmark all of these hyperlinks so that you're not constantly having to go back and find them, because you will use them repeatedly as you write lesson plans. Further explanation. All lesson plans covering subjects other than math, science, and the English language arts, as I indicated previously, are to use the combined curriculum document, and I just gave you that URL on the previous slide. When you access the Common Core document, you're going to notice that it is laid out much differently than this combined curriculum document, and it will give you individual links that you can click on that will take you to the appropriate subject and grade level. Pay close attention to the big idea sections as you scroll, looking for ideas that most closely match your lesson plan. Once you find the proper section of the document, look at the 3 columns of information. First 2 are program of studies. Last column is Kentucky Core content. That's important that you remember that, and here's why. You need to choose at least one entry from the first column, or I should say first 2 columns, possibly both, depending on what you're teaching. You must include at least one entry from the 3rd column. Look at the sample lesson plans to see how they are labeled. Here's an example. Notice you have to use the wording, not just the numbers. Here's a screenshot of the combined curriculum document for 4th grade social studies. I have already circled on the screen examples of, as I told you, something has to come from one of the first 2 columns, something always comes from the 3rd, and here's the numbers that you saw referenced and the verbiage that you saw referenced on the previous lesson plan sample. Remember, the combined curriculum document is only for subjects other than the 3 listed here. Common Core standards for math, science, and English language arts are handled differently. Immediately you will notice, once you go to the hyperlinks that I've provided you, that the combined curriculum document is very different from the Common Core. The science website even looks different from the math and English language arts. Here's why. Once you access the appropriate URL, find your grade and subject hyperlink, and you're on your. Notice I'm telling you that you will include the code in addition to the text next to it in your standards section for these 3 subjects. This is a lot of information, and as I said, please don't panic. I want you to look at the next series of screenshots to see where you should focus your attention for coding purposes. Here's an example of Common Core standards. Trying to get this pen tip to work well. For English language arts. RF, Reading Foundation. Grade 3, Grade 3. Standard 4, and I'm saying letter C because C is what I'm going to be addressing in this lesson plan. Another one. Here's an example of Common Core standards for math. Once you access the appropriate hyperlinks, you will see screens that look similar to this. Notice the coding that I put in the lesson plan. Here's where it came from. Now this is math. Notice it looks a little different than the English language arts. So I put this coding, and I also put the verbiage, and I'm done. Here's an example of science. Okay, first thing, wow, look how different this page looks than the others. So now I'm in high school. I have read down through this listing of possibilities for the subject and topic that I chose. I didn't go directly to this page. I had to pick and choose, what I was teaching as I go along till I get, to get to this page. And then literally, once I found what I was teaching, all I had to do was include the text that's in black.